Providence Municipal Court. A corporate executive dressed in a $2,000 suit walks confidently into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, carrying an air of superiority that immediately fills the room. She's here for a routine speeding ticket. It should take 5 minutes, pay a small fine, and she'll return to her corner office. But 42-year-old Jennifer Hartwell makes a choice that will follow her for years. As Judge Caprio speaks, calm, patient, and fair, Jennifer does something so shockingly disrespectful that the entire courtroom freezes. Right there, on camera and in front of dozens of witnesses. She raises her hand and gives Judge Frank Caprio the middle finger. What happens next isn't just a punishment. It's a powerful reminder that respect for the justice system is never optional, and some actions can't be taken back. Before we reveal the serious consequences of Jennifer's outburst, make sure to subscribe. We're closing in on 600,000 subscribers. Yet 97% of viewers still haven't joined the Judge Stories community. If you believe that courtrooms deserve respect and that consequences matter, leave a comment below, because by the end of this video, you'll see why Judge Caprio's reaction became legendary. The arrogance begins. Here's something to think about. When did society forget that certain people and places deserve automatic respect? No matter how we feel, Jennifer Hartwell's case proves that contempt of court isn't just legal language. It's a serious boundary you should never cross. Tuesday morning, 10:45 a.m., Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff calls Jennifer Hartwell, speeding citation, 68 in a 45 mph zone. Jennifer enters like she owns the courtroom. Designer suit, Armani most likely. Her expensive leather briefcase rests beside her. A Rolex gleams on her wrist. Her hair is perfectly styled, makeup impeccable. Everything about her appearance radiates wealth and confidence. Yet beneath it all, her body language reveals something else. Contempt. As she approaches the podium, her stride is deliberate, her expression detached. She glances around the courtroom with mild disdain and rolls her eyes when she has to wait for the judge to finish his paperwork. Judge Frank Caprio finally looks up with his usual warmth. Good morning, Miss Hartwell. I see you're here for a speeding violation on Route 95. Please explain what happened. Jennifer's voice is cool and dismissive. Your Honor, I was driving to an important business meeting. The speed limit on that stretch is absurdly low. Everyone drives 65 to 70. I was simply keeping up with the flow of traffic. Her tone doesn't seek understanding. It challenges authority. It's as if the law itself is an inconvenience. Judge Caprio remains calm. Miss Hartwell, the officer recorded you at 68 in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. That's 23 miles over the limit. That's not minor. With respect, Your Honor, she interjects, that section of road was recently changed from 55 to 45. It's a speed trap meant to collect fines. Everyone knows it. A quiet tension fills the courtroom. A few regular attendees exchange glances. It's clear she's pushing boundaries she doesn't fully grasp. Judge Caprio's face stays composed, though his tone grows more deliberate. Miss Hartwell, regardless of whether you agree with the limit, it's clearly posted. Driving 23 miles over the speed limit endangers others. Jennifer exhales loudly as though addressing a stubborn child. Your Honor, I've been driving for 25 years without a single accident. I'm a safer driver at 68 than most people are at 45. The prosecutor then interjects. Your Honor, I'd like to note that Ms. Hartwell has 3 prior speeding violations within the last 5 years. 2 fines were paid, and 1 was dismissed after attending traffic school. Jennifer's face turns red with frustration. Those have nothing to do with this case, she insists. Judge Caprio scans the file calmly. Actually, Ms. Hartwell, they're very relevant. They demonstrate a pattern of repeated speeding. This isn't a single mistake, it shows consistent disregard for traffic laws. Jennifer straightens up. I don't habitually disregard anything, Your Honor. I just have places to be, and many of these speed limits are outdated. They don't reflect how safe modern vehicles are. The law is arbitrary. She pushes back, the courtroom grows tense. Even those unfamiliar with legal proceedings can tell she's making things worse for herself. Judge Caprio takes another measured breath, choosing patience. Ms. Hartwell, I understand you think the speed limits are too low, but if you believe that, the right approach is to take it up with the city council or the traffic authority, not to ignore the posted laws. Your Honor, with all due respect, I don't have time to challenge every poorly made regulation, she replies curtly. The judge tilts his head slightly. Yet you seem to find the time to appear in traffic court again and again. It's a fair point, spoken without hostility, but Jennifer takes it as sarcasm. Subscribe to Judge Stories YT if you believe respect for the justice system is the foundation of a civilized society. Caprio continues reviewing the officer's notes and traffic camera footage. Ms. Hartwell, Officer Patterson stated that when he stopped you, you were argumentative and initially refused to show your license. Is that true? I simply asked why I was being pulled over, she responds defensively. That's my right. You're absolutely correct. You have that right, the judge says evenly. But according to the report, you also told the officer he was wasting your time and that you had better things to do than deal with incompetent traffic enforcement. Jennifer doesn't deny the accusation. I was late for a meeting, Your Honor, an important one. My company lost money because I was stuck on the side of the highway. Miss Hartwell, Judge Caprio replies calmly. You were late because you were speeding. The officer didn't make you do that. You chose to break the law. The law is arbitrary, Jennifer responds sharply. Judge Caprio's patience thins, though his tone remains composed. Ms. Hartwell, the law isn't arbitrary. Speed limits exist to protect everyone's safety. Being in a hurry doesn't exempt you from following them. I never said I was above the law, she protests. Your actions suggest otherwise, the judge counters. 4 speeding tickets in 5 years, arguing with an officer, and now standing here claiming speed limits shouldn't apply because your meetings are important. Jennifer's jaw tightens. Your Honor, I came here expecting fairness, not a lecture. Fairness is exactly what you're receiving. Ms. Hartwell, Judge Caprio replies steadily. The fine for driving 23 miles over the limit is $385, plus a mandatory driving safety course due to your prior violations. $385? She exclaims. That's ridiculous. That's the law, Miss Hartwell. The judge answers firmly. It's the same law that applies to every person who enters this courtroom. Jennifer's face flushes red. Her grip on the podium tightens until her knuckles turn white. This is absurd, she says through clenched teeth. I manage a division at Northeastern Financial. I make decisions that affect hundreds of employees, and now I'm being treated like a criminal for driving 68 miles an hour on the highway. Judge Caprio's response is measured but resolute. His tone remains firm, never harsh. Miss Hartwell, your position and salary do not place you above the law. The person who stood before you was a delivery driver earning minimum wage. Jennifer glares at Judge Caprio, fury blazing in her eyes. Her breathing quickens, her face turns red, and then, in a moment of sheer arrogance and anger, she crosses the line. She raises her right hand and flips her middle finger straight at Judge Caprio. Judge, Caprio rises from his seat. You've insulted this court, he says firmly. The courtroom fills with gasps. Several people exclaim, "Oh my God." The bailiff steps forward instantly, and the court reporter freezes, hands hovering above her keyboard. The warmth that usually defines Judge Caprio's courtroom disappears. His calm, compassionate demeanor is replaced by a chilling authority. Ms. Hartwell. His voice is low but powerful. Did you just make an obscene gesture toward this court? Realizing the seriousness of what she's done, Jennifer hesitates, but pride wins. She lifts her chin and says, I was simply expressing my opinion of this process, Your Honor. Wrong answer. Very wrong answer. You expressed your opinion, Judge Caprio repeats slowly, by showing this court your middle finger. In open session, on record, in front of witnesses, Jennifer stays silent, but her expression begins to show that the reality of her mistake is sinking in. Ms. Hartwell, the judge continues, do you understand what you've just done? I made a gesture, Your Honor. Freedom of expression. The courtroom goes completely silent. Everyone realizes they're witnessing something rare and not in a good way. Judge Caprio stands tall, his tone unwavering. Ms. Hartwell, this isn't about me personally. You've disrespected this court, the justice system, and every citizen who values the rule of law. And you acted with clear premeditation and intent. Your Honor, you are not speaking anymore, Ms. Hartwell. You are listening. The authority in his tone cuts through the courtroom, silencing her instantly. In my 35 years on this bench, Judge Caprio continues, I have faced people who were angry, upset, afraid, and uncertain. I've shown leniency to single mothers unable to pay their fines, I've dismissed tickets for seniors living on limited means. I've given second chances to young people who made poor choices. Do you know why? Jennifer remains silent, because they showed respect. Judge Caprio turns to the bailiff. Bailiff, please approach. The officer steps forward. Judge Caprio speaks clearly enough for everyone to hear. Place Ms. Hartwell in custody. She is being held in contempt of court. Jennifer's eyes widen in disbelief. Wait, what? You can't. I absolutely can, Miss Hartwell, and I am. Two court officers move toward her. Jennifer instinctively steps back, her confidence collapsing. Your Honor, please, I'm sorry. You didn't mean to disrespect this court? Judge Caprio interrupts firmly. You deliberately raised your middle finger, Miss Hartwell. That was intentional. You knew exactly what you were doing. The officers now stand beside her. She looks on the verge of tears, her usual composure gone. Miss Hartwell, Judge Caprio declares, you are in contempt of court. The sentence is 30 days in the Providence County Jail, with a possible reduction to 10 days if you show genuine remorse and understand why your actions were unacceptable. 30 days? Your Honor, I can't go to jail. I have a job, responsibilities. You should have considered that before insulting this court, he replies sternly. Jennifer's voice trembles. Please, Your Honor, I made a terrible mistake. Please don't do this. Judge Caprio's expression remains firm, unmoved by her plea. Judge Caprio, Ms. Hartwell, everyone who appears before this court has made mistakes. That's why they're here. The difference is most people still show respect, even when admitting they're wrong. You, however, displayed open contempt. Jennifer pleading, please, Your Honor, I'm begging you. Judge Caprio, the original fine of $385 is now increased to the maximum penalty of $1,000 for excessive speeding and prior violations. Additionally, you are required to complete a mandatory 40-hour driver education program, and your license will be suspended for 90 days until completion. Jennifer begins crying openly, her mascara streaking down her face. Jennifer, please, Your Honor. I'll do anything. I'll apologize publicly. I'll pay whatever fine you want. Just please, don't send me to jail. Judge Caprio, Ms. Hartwell, the time for apologies was before you made that gesture. The moment to show respect was when you entered this courtroom. You chose arrogance and disregard instead. Prosecutor, interjecting, Your Honor. For the record, Ms. Hartwell's contempt was witnessed by myself, the court staff, and about 40 members of the public in attendance. It was intentional and unmistakable. Judge Caprio, thank you, counsel. Ms. Hartwell, you will now be processed and held pending transfer to the county facility. Jennifer looks around the courtroom desperately, hoping someone might intervene. No one does. Everyone understands she brought this upon herself. Jennifer, voice breaking. Your Honor, please, I'm 42 years old. I've never been arrested before. I'm truly sorry, please. I'm so sorry. Judge Caprio slowly sits back down, his tone softening slightly, though his authority remains firm. Judge Caprio, Ms. Hartwell, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen carefully. Jennifer nods through her tears. The contempt charge remains. You will be processed and taken into custody. However, I'm giving you one opportunity, just one, to show that you truly understand what you did wrong. A brief hint of hope appears on Jennifer's face. You will spend the next 72 hours in custody. During that time, you must write a detailed statement explaining why your actions were inappropriate, why respect for the judicial system is important, and what you have learned from this experience. If your statement shows real remorse and understanding, not simply fear of punishment, but a sincere grasp of why respect in the courtroom matters, I will consider reducing your sentence. Yes, Your Honor, I'll do it. Thank you. I'm not finished, Ms. Hartwell. If your statement is self-serving, filled with excuses, or shows that you still don't understand the seriousness of showing contempt toward this court, you will serve the full 30 days. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor, I understand completely. Bailiff, take Miss Hartwell into custody. As the officers escort Jennifer Hartwell out of the courtroom in handcuffs, her designer suit now seems entirely out of place. Judge Caprio turns to address the courtroom. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just witnessed is something I never take pleasure in doing. Holding someone in contempt and ordering jail time are decisions I make with great care. But they are also decisions I take seriously when necessary, because this courtroom stands for something greater than any single case. It represents the rule of law, the principle that our disputes are resolved through a fair and civil process, not through influence, wealth, or power. Judge Caprio gestures toward the empty podium where Jennifer had stood just moments earlier. Ms. Hartwell entered this courtroom believing her position, income, and demanding schedule entitled her to special treatment. When she was told she had to follow the same rules as everyone else, she reacted with the highest form of disrespect. Some might think that 30 days is too severe for a mere gesture. But that gesture wasn't just impolite. It was a direct challenge to the very foundation of our justice system. If we allow people to show open contempt for the court without consequences, we send the message that the court doesn't matter. And if the court doesn't matter, then neither does the law. Without the law, what remains is disorder and chaos. An elderly man sitting in the back row nods firmly. He appears to be in his 70s, wearing a veteran's cap. Judge Caprio notices him. "Sir, I see you nodding. Would you like to share your thoughts?" The judge asks. The man rises slowly. "Your Honor, with your permission," he begins. "My name is Robert Chen. I served in Korea. I've been coming to this courthouse for over 40 years for different matters, and I want to say, you did the right thing." A soft murmur of agreement ripples through the courtroom. "When I was young," Mr. Chen continues, "we were taught that some things are sacred. The flag, the church, the courtroom. These are places where respect is automatic, whether you feel like it or not. That woman," he pauses, shaking his head. "She forgot that. Or maybe no one ever taught her." "Thank you, Mr. Chen," Judge Caprio responds warmly. "You're absolutely right. Respect for our institutions isn't outdated, it's vital." Another voice rises. A middle-aged woman. "Your Honor, I'm a high school teacher," she says. "I see this attitude every day. Students who think the rules don't apply to them because their parents have money or influence. Watching that woman face consequences gives me hope." Judge Caprio nods in agreement. "That's exactly the problem," he says. "We've built a culture where some people believe their status excuses them from basic decency. It doesn't. A corporate executive follows the same traffic rules as a delivery driver. A millionaire owes the same respect in court as someone earning minimum wage. That's not oppression, and that's equality. Where are you watching from? Comment your city if you agree that respect for the court should never be optional." Judge Caprio continues. "Ms. Hartwell will have 72 hours to reflect on her actions, to truly think about them, not just worry about the outcome. If she comes out of this experience understanding why respect in court matters, I'll consider leniency. But if she still believes she was treated unfairly, she'll serve the full sentence." Here's what everyone watching should take away. This courtroom exists to deliver justice, and justice demands respect for the process. You can disagree with a decision. You can appeal it. You can even believe the judge was wrong, but you still show respect to the institution while doing so. Ms. Hartwell forgot that. Or maybe she was never taught it. Now she has 72 hours in a jail cell to learn a lesson that should have been learned long ago. Certain places, people, and institutions deserve respect. No matter how you feel in the moment, Judge Caprio raises his gavel. The next time someone steps into this courtroom believing their wealth or position makes them above basic respect, I hope they remember Jennifer Hartwell. I hope they remember that contempt of court carries real, immediate, and serious consequences. Court is in recess. The gavel strikes. Subscribe to Judge Stories. Buy tea for more moments where the justice system defends its integrity and reminds us of lessons too often forgotten. Jennifer Hartwell entered that courtroom as a corporate executive and left in handcuffs. A living reminder that respect for the law isn't optional, and contempt of court isn't just a phrase. It's a real offense with real consequences. Judge Frank Caprio showed that day what many older Americans already know deep down. Some things are sacred, some lines must never be crossed. And when they are, consequences must follow. Because without them, the justice system begins to fall apart. This is what justice looks like when it stands up for itself.